Decapitation demands exemplary sword technique. The human neck, with its solid vertebrae and thick layers of muscle and sinew, is not something easily cleaved. Any parting words? Nah. As such, to accomplish it in a single clean cut is a feat few have mastered. The job typically requires a flurry of hacks that transform the execution grounds into a tableau of hell. I told you to stop resisting! The bladed, is this his ninjutsu? Why can't I die? No, why won't I die? Welcome one, welcome all. This is your introduction to Jigokuraku, also known as Hell's Paradise. With the anime announced by the critically acclaimed MAPPA studio, the same people behind Jujutsu Kaisen and the new Attack on Titan final season, I think this is a great time to introduce as many people as possible to this fantastic series. So allow me to take up some of your free time to introduce you to the manga that I've been reading for the past year. The story takes place in Edo, Japan. Convicts sentenced to death are presented a second chance, in the form of a full pardon for their crime. In order to obtain their pardon, they must travel the sea to procure a famed elixir of life for the shogun. Accompanying our soon-to-be departed convicts are the Yamada Asaimon, a clan of executioners who've mastered the art of beheading. Our protagonist is Gabimaru the Hollow, a ninja from the Iwagakure. No, not that one. Gabimaru finds himself on death's door, or so it seems that the government could properly kill this shaggy-haired Saitama. This is where Sagiri, a woman belonging to the aforementioned Yamada Asaimon clan, comes into play. Sagiri, realizing Gabimaru has the potential to aid in the shogunate mission, employs Gabimaru. Gabimaru agrees to the suicide mission, as it's his only chance to see his wife again. I want to draw attention to Gabimaru, by far one of my favorite protagonists of recent memory. Not only is he an utter badass in every fight scene, he's also a fallible human forced into a life he must reluctantly survive in. And despite this, Gabimaru is able to overcome his weaknesses with every obstacle thrown at him. I think if anything, Gabimaru is the perfect example of how to make a cool character, who's also really strong. Give them obvious weaknesses. If he can't get hurt physically, hurt him some way else. It's also a bonus that Sagiri helps Gabimaru in his development, as it aids in her own development. Jigokuraku juggles the perspectives of multiple characters. This is a particularly hard thing to pull off. Jigokuraku handles switching its protagonists with well-tuned pacing, allowing each character to shine. Every character is competently portrayed, their weaknesses, their strengths, goals, failures, all laid out in clear view for the audience to experience. Now let's take this time to mention some notable characters, most prominently my favorite ones. So we have several groups of characters. We have the convicts, the Yamada Asaimon, the inhabitants of the island, and even the antagonists themselves. I won't spoil anything since we'll only be covering things that happen in volume 1. Because I seriously want you to go out and at least read the first few chapters. You can read it for free on Manga Plus. Not sponsored, but hey Manga Plus, I'm here. One of my favorite characters is Yuzuriha, because I love me some fan service. But she's also the closest thing I'll get to seeing a Tenchu anime. My simping aside, I love her selfish nature and her procedural growth of empathy through the series. Simply put, I like her. Asachobe resembles Bakugo in the Edo period, except far more murderous. I swear, you look at them, you can think they're distant relatives. Allow me to explain why I love this absolutely psychopathic Chad with the similarity to a teen with an explosive attitude. Asachobe is the embodiment of, you better kill me before I kill you. Simply put, he's a badass and I like him. New the guy, a young mountain child, the last of their clan, was wrongfully convicted. Throughout the story, they go through many trials and tribulations, allowing them to grow from their losses and weaknesses. Again, because of spoilers, I can't talk too much about what happens with New the guy, but they have such a great scene in the later volumes that it really cemented how much I like this character. Simply put, I like him. The Yamada Asaimon clan is full of unique individuals, with all of their personalities defining their sense of justice, as they themselves are the sword of the law. But by far, my favorite Yamada Asaimon is Senta! This lovable oaf is the best. Simply put, I simp for Senta. As I mentioned earlier, there is a whole cast of antagonists. I can't get too far into it for spoiler reasons. This is why you have to go read it yourself. I think the story is appealing enough that many can get into it. The main group of antagonists provide a good challenge for our protagonists, and the balancing between both antagonists and protagonists when it comes to their strengths and weaknesses in fights is done so well. There's a good number of times where both combatants will come out of the fight injured, if not dead or alive. When these villains show up, they're taking lives. death is around the corner at any turn in Jigokuraku. But not to say it's overplayed, because characters don't die left and right just for no real reason, just to pull at your heartstrings or shock you. The deaths are meaningful, and they impact the other characters. On the topic of death itself, Jigokuraku is a bit extreme, if I can say a bit, which is one of its main appeals is that it's so gruesome and so visceral. To be warned, it's not for those who don't like that kind of stuff. Characters getting beheaded, arms getting chopped off, people getting stabbed through the stomach, lots of blood, lots of gore. Characters get brutalized a lot. And that's just on the violent side. Jigokuraku also tackles sexual topics, with sex being one of the pivotal elements to his power system. You know, you're gonna see Sagiri's badonkadonks before you even know what her hobby is. So for the people who aren't into fan service, there is like blatant fan service. Just naked breasts sitting out there. Of course, I'm not gonna show them here because I don't want to get banned. It's definitely one of the appeals of the manga. So again, it's rated M for mature.
Rated M for mature.
And all of these themes being handled so well is thanks to the creator, Yuji Kaku, who his editor, Sakakibara, attributes the well handling of the series, its tones and its elements and its characters and everything thanks to Yuji Kaku's previous work as an editor himself. So whenever Kaku and his editor meet, they're able to communicate very easily. Now let's take a field trip to Yuji Kaku's past. Kaku as a child spent most of his time painting and practicing swordplay with his cousin Takeshi Tsuruno, who is a celebrity who is known for playing Ultraman. Here's a short timeline of Kaku's manga experience. In 2007, he begins work as an editor for Weekly Shonen Champion. In 2009, he would write Memory Customs, a one-shot published at Jump Square. This work would then receive an honorable mention in the Jump Square Grand Prix. 2013, Kaku begins his first serialization with Phantasma for a year. In 2016, Kaku will publish another one-shot, Jailbreak Princess, to Jump Square Crown. From 2016 to 18, Kaku would become an assistant to Tatsuki Fujimoto, yes, the one and only creator of Chainsaw Man, which is also getting a MAPPA anime pretty soon. But at this point, Fujimoto was working on Fire Punch. 2018, Kaku would then begin his second serialization with the topic of this video, Jigokuraku. This series would go all the way until 2021. In late 2021, he started his third serialization with Ayashimon in the regular Shonen Jump magazine. Now, I'm a volume guy, so I really haven't gotten into Ayashimon. I've read like the first 2 or 3 chapters. It didn't really give me the appeal of Jigokuraku, maybe because it's toned down because it's in the Shonen magazine. Hopefully volumes get pushed out, that way I can start buying them because I'm a Kaku fan now. And even better yet, I hope it doesn't get axed. We've covered a lot so far. Hopefully you've kept up with me Naruto running through the script. Jigokuraku had a certain charm to it that made me blindly decide after reading the first chapter to just buy all of the volumes. After hearing about its completion in earlier last year, without a shadow of a doubt, I don't regret making this purchase at all. I'm going to buy the final volume when it comes out in March. Hopefully I can sell you on the idea of giving Jigokuraku a chance. Again, you can read it totally for free on the Shonen Jump Plus app and or website. Sponsor me! Sponsor me! With that upcoming anime, Jigokuraku is only going to blow up more. Especially since MAPPA is behind it, their name alone has grown so much in just the past few years, especially due to Jujutsu Kaisen. Unfortunately, the current staff reveal doesn't really show like what kind of quality we're going to get. The people who have been listed to be working on it really haven't done too much and not anything super notable outside of like directing an episode of Attack on Titan. So those portfolios don't really hype me up, to be honest. Even then, I'm not much of a hype consumer anyway. I have more series I would love to introduce you guys to, and maybe you could introduce me to some of your favorite manga as well. With all that said and done, this was your introduction to Jigokuraku. Peace out.